Hello and welcome back to Side by Side with D. Today we are going to be doing a complete meal. I'm excited for this video because I feel like, especially nowadays, I don't know, maybe it's my generation of millennials, maybe it's social media, maybe it has to do with our short attention spans and only consuming things that we absolutely love. But I feel like we've kind of gotten away from complete balanced meals. And what I mean by that is, like, typically growing up, right? Whenever your parent or guardian or whoever would serve you, or even, yourself would serve you a plate of food, it would typically be some sort of side, like a starch, a protein. So it's typically a meat and some sort of vegetable. But I feel like as of lately, we've been getting like 2 starches, double meat, lots of sauce, lots of parsley, and just kind of eating all of these different fusion foods and things like that. And don't get me wrong, I am a lover of fusion foods. One of my favorite restaurants is a Peruvian / Japanese restaurant. It's a ramen place. And that's fusion, right? But I feel like we have gotten away from what I would consider, or what most people would consider, a balanced meal. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm very excited for it. So today we're actually going to be doing an herb crusted pork chop with garlicky golden lemon roasted potatoes and a feta salad. It sounds like a lot, but I'm expecting it to take maybe about 45 to an hour, which isn't really that long when you think about it, because it is going to be a little bit of prep. But I'm super excited for this meal. I feel like it's balanced in a way. Maybe it is a little bit of fusion. It has a little bit of like South American, but also like Mediterranean vibes to it. But everything is there. We have a fresh element. It's nice and light and refreshing with the salad. But then we have kind of like that hearty element, which is like the potatoes. They're gonna be boiled in some chicken stock and then roasted in like some olive oil, butter, some salt. It's gonna be great. And then we have an herb crusted pork chop, herbaceous, a nice cut of protein, very savory. So I feel like not only are we balanced in our plate, as in like making it complete with like sides and starch and meat and protein, but we're also balancing flavors. We've got acid, we have a chimichurri sauce. It's not going to be something that's going to be made in this video because it is something that I made about 2 days ago. I made it for a breakfast hash that I put together, and it's so good. So we're going to be putting some of that maybe either on the potatoes or on our pork chop. But we've got a lot going on, and I feel like it's kind of gonna check all of the back boxes that we want for a complete meal. I'm gonna go put my little bandana on, and we're gonna wash our hands and get started. Okay, can you hear me? I'm so upset. If you've seen that first clip, I quickly realized, not quickly enough, but I realized that it wasn't actually recording any audio. So during that portion, I guess I'll just like I hate two speeding. I'll keep it at the same speed, but I'll just have to voice over it. Cause I switched it from being on the counter to kind of like being in front, so you know we can continue cooking. And then I see it says mic off, and I'm like, I'm new to cameras, so I don't know what I did to turn the mic off. But I am glad that I caught it at a decent enough time that I did not film this entire thing with no audio, because we would have had to turn it into a short. We would have had to turn it into a short. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna look over them again. I think there was one that I was saying over there that there was an imperfection. Not an imperfection, but it just has like this black thing. So I'm just gonna take that off. We're just gonna get them bite-sized. I'm not gonna worry too much about them all being completely uniform, if I'm being honest with you. I know that is very important to a lot of people, and I think that is a great cooking technique. We're not there yet. We want to focus on flavors, working with ingredients that we know in new ways, and just being better at like cooking temperatures. And at some point, even though this may seem like a more basic thing to learn, we'll go back and polish things up and make them prettier and cut them all nice and stuff like that. But right now, we're not worried too much about that. So I just have them about quartered. It's enough that it's gonna be good when they're roasted, right? Because we have enough of the inside, the flesh, that'll be nice and pillowy, but we still have that skin and that outer layer that's gonna be nice and crisp. So okay, we have our potatoes diced, quartered, they're cut. We're gonna get a pot, fill it up with some cold water, add the potatoes in there with the chicken stock, and we're gonna get that boiling. So I have it filled up about maybe 2/3. We have to leave some room for the potatoes, so we're just gonna leave it like this. We're gonna bring it on over here. So for potatoes, you wanna make sure that you're not boiling them in water that's already boiling. So you don't want them in hot water. I don't know why, but I've seen it enough to know, I've heard it enough to know from chefs and TV shows and cooking channels that you're just not supposed to do that. So we're starting with cold water. I have some chicken bouillon, but I also have this right here, which is basically chicken bouillon seasoning. So you can choose either or. You can either do the bouillon or the seasoning. I prefer this, but I don't even know if I really have enough of this. Oh, I have enough, just enough. So go with whatever you have, but you do need some sort of chicken stock. Okay, so we are going to get our potatoes in. This is pretty salty, so we'll hold off on this all. Let's get our potatoes in. fully dissolve right now. If you have the chicken bouillon seasoning, it'll dissolve just fine. This is going to take a little bit of heat, but that's okay. Once it gets up to a temperature, we'll go ahead and we will stir it one more time just to make sure that it's not just sitting at the bottom of the pot. And what we'll do, once we stir it, we can taste the water to see how salty it is. And if it needs more salt, we'll add more salt to it. So I'm gonna set a timer for like 10 minutes. That should give it enough time to get boiling. And while we have our bowl, we're gonna go ahead and pick the seasonings that we're gonna be using for our potatoes. So we're gonna be grabbing some garlic. At some point, we are gonna need some butter for this. If you are somebody who just loves cheese, you can add a little bit of Parmesan cheese to it, but I'm gonna leave it off. Only because we're doing the feta. So I have garlic, I have butter. I don't have fresh lemons, but I do have lemon juice. And, I am gonna be adding a little bit of rosemary to the potatoes. Now for seasoning, we are gonna use pepper. We have some kosher salt. I could use some of this garlic, this roasted garlic, but because we're gonna use fresh garlic, I'm not gonna put that in there. So that's it for this cabinet. We have a Greek seasoning. Now we're just gonna add a little bit of that because we're mostly gonna put this in our feta salad. So we'll just add a little bit onto the potatoes. What do we have? We'll add a little bit of paprika, some onion powder, and we're gonna need some sort of oil. I'm debating between olive oil and avocado. A part of me wants to use avocado because I know it is a higher heat. It can handle like a higher heat, and we are gonna be roasting these. But I do like the flavor of olive oil. Let's go with avocado. So the first thing we're gonna do is get some garlic mashed up. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, and that's our garlic. It's all smashed up. And let's check on our potatoes to see how they're doing. We're gonna use a little bit of the powdered and a little bit of salt. The thing with potatoes is that you really do have to salt them. Even if we're roasting them and we're putting seasonings on top, the inside, the flesh of that potato is going to be very, very bland without any salt. That's much better. All right, we're gonna set another timer for about 15 minutes. We're just gonna take a little bit of rosemary Not a lot. We're gonna get our garlic in there. Am I the only person who did not know that avocado oil doesn't actually taste like anything? Olive oil tastes like something. It tastes like olive oil, which I'm assuming tastes like olives. I wouldn't know because I don't eat olives. I don't know how close the taste is from olive oil to olives, but anyways, avocado oil don't taste like shit. So if you ever were wondering. All right, we're gonna add some onion powder. We added salt. We're gonna do a little bit of, I wish you could smell this, a little bit of this Greek seasoning. And then we're gonna add some lemon juice. And I do have to add butter, but what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make some little cubes, and that way when the hot potatoes go in, it'll just melt the butter for us. Whoops, forgot the black pepper. Okay, so we're just gonna give this a whisk. We'll set it aside and then wait for the potatoes to get done boiling. And while we do that, we'll get started on some other components for our dish. We're going to get our pork chops out and also our chimichurri sauce. Again, we made this yesterday. And because it has olive oil in it, it's kind of solid, which it's fine. Honestly, chimichurri is better the longer it sits. But we needed to loosen up a little bit to actually work as a sauce. So we're just gonna leave this on the counter. And we wanna get these pork chops up to room temperature so we can cook them. So let's take these two things out. We're gonna go ahead and get our cucumber and our feta. So our pork chops are out, our chimichurri sauce is out. Let's start getting our salad ready. So I'm only gonna take 2 cucumbers for this. I think what I wanna do tomorrow is I wanna try to make pickles again. I made them before and they were really good. So I think I'm gonna use these. I might just cut them into 4s and then try to make some pickles. I think I have everything that I need. I have herbs here. I have vinegar. I have allspice. So I have like pickling spices that I would need. So we're gonna give it a try. I wanted to do a video on that though. Like I wanted to do like a bunch of pickled items. So pickled onions, pickles, like pickled cucumbers. We just call them pickles. I don't know what else you pickle. What else do you pickle? You know what I've been enjoying lately? Pickled jalapenos. So maybe you know what? Maybe tomorrow I'll go out and grab those things and we'll record us doing that as a fun little project. So it's not the cleanest cut, but basically I cut across, I turned it, and then I cut across again. So we have essentially 4 pieces, and then I'm just gonna dice them. I want this tomato salad to be, or feta salad to be bite-sized. So I would like for these pieces to be a little bit more uniform. And what I'm gunning for is for every bite to kind of match, I guess, a piece of feta. So you kind of get a little bit of everything. Typically you would use Roma tomatoes. I don't have them. I only have these Campari potatoes, tomatoes. I saw them at Trader Joe's and they looked cute and they're so round, and I don't know what they're for. I don't even know if they're good potatoes to eat fresh, but we have them, so we're gonna use them. My oven's getting ready. It always sounds like it's about to take off whenever it's preheated. I think that's good. I can smell the potatoes, so let's check and see how they're doing. We're just gonna leave this to the side for now. We're actually gonna throw this in the fridge. We're not gonna dress it just yet. We're gonna wait until the pork chops are resting to go ahead and season and dress this up. And that's the alarm for the potatoes. Have to be completely soft. They just have to be fork tender because they'll do the rest of the cooking in the oven. I did cut them kind of big, so it may take a little bit of time. Yeah, not ready quite yet. Maybe like another 5 minutes, and that should be good. Okay, so the 5 minutes is up. Let's take a look and see what we have. I want to get one of the bigger ones. Yeah, that's fork tender. Awesome. So we're gonna turn this off. Let's get some real kitchen mix, and then we're gonna drain it. So I was about to drain it, right? But real quick, I learned a little trick on the internet, and it said that whenever you're gonna roast something, broccoli, a vegetable, whatever pan you're gonna roast it in, you need to grab it, and you need to put it in the oven a few minutes before you throw the vegetables on. That way, as soon as you put it on the pan, it starts to sear and already starts the roasting process. I just want to get some of this butter in here so it can immediately start melting as soon as these potatoes get in. Probably about 3 tablespoons. I'm gonna try and see if I'm one of them girlies that cook. Ooh, maybe I can. You see that? They're coated beautifully. You hear that? That's what we want. Okay? A hot pan. Start roasting your potatoes immediately. We're gonna set a 20-minute timer. We're gonna let these cook on this side for 20 minutes, and then halfway through the process, we are going to flip them. And then when we take them out the oven, we're gonna add just a little bit more lemon juice on top. These are gonna be so good. Okay, so our potatoes are in the oven. Our salad is chopped, ready to go. The only thing we have to do is we have to season it and dress it, which is gonna literally take 2 seconds. So the only thing left to do is the pork chop. And I know that may seem like the scariest part, but that is actually probably like the easiest part. We're just gonna pat it dry. We're gonna season it. I have some salt, I have some pepper, I have some herb seasoning here. And we're gonna get that in the pan once the pan is heated up. And then we'll get that in the oven. So my pork chops are about 2 inches thick. They're boneless. So I'm gonna sear them for about 4 minutes on each side and then put it in the oven for about 10 minutes. But, oops, I did not put the timer on. The potatoes have been in the oven for like 5 minutes, right? Okay, so, because we're gonna cook them for about 40 minutes, so we have to flip them halfway through. The last 10 minutes on the potatoes is, I wanna time it to where the pork chops are coming out of the pan, and then we're putting, not out of the pan, but they're done cooking on both sides to get that nice sear that we want, and then putting it in the oven so it can finish in the oven for those last 10 minutes. That way everything comes out hot and ready to go, and then we can just tint the pork chops to allow it to continue to come up to temperature while we dress the salad. That way everything's kind of prepped, ready, everything's hot. I don't have a meat thermometer, and I'm really scared. The only thing that scares me more than cooking chicken is cooking pork. So I had one, and what happened is I threw it in the sink, and somehow it got water like all in the digital front part. So it got all messed up, and I was supposed to get another one, and I didn't. But, I mean, what were people doing before thermometers? Dying or overcooking it, I guess. What we're gonna do is I looked up some instructions that say if you have like a 2-inch, I'm still not used to the ice machine. So when I looked it up on ChatGPT, it said if you have a 2-inch thick pork chop, cook it on about 3 to 4 minutes on each side, and then put it in the oven for 6 to 10 minutes. I'm gonna do that 10, and that should get it up to 150 degrees. And then we'll tint it, let it sit for like 10-15 minutes, and then we'll cut into it. And if it's not cooked, we're gonna throw it right back in the pan. But keeping our fingers crossed. Pepper. Some smoked paprika. A little bit of onion powder. Some garlic powder. I'm actually going to use roasted garlic. And hold on, don't judge, a little bit of steak seasoning. I promise you. I will not lie to you. So I'm just pressing into it. That way I know it's seasoned on every side. Okay, let's test our pan. Let's wash our hands and then test our pan to make sure that it's ready. There we go. I'm using avocado oil as my fat of choice. I'm gonna put this fan on. It has been about 4 minutes. I just want to peek and see if it's ready to flip. I want a nice golden crust, so I'm not going to flip these until I see that. Yeah. Beautiful. Now, I think I read somewhere, don't quote me, or a video where they mentioned that if you sear the fat cap before you flip it on the other side, that it won't curl. I'm gonna try that next time. We are gonna sear it though, once we get these sides down. Okay, so it's been 2 minutes. What we're gonna do is we're gonna stand them up on the sides of the fat. If I can grab it. There we go. Just so we can get it rendering down a bit. While rosemary is in, I'm gonna get some butter in. And as soon as that butter melts, we're gonna start basting, but let's check on our potatoes. They're looking great. And our butter is melted. We're gonna get this in the oven for about, I'm gonna set a timer for 10 minutes. And then once those 10 minutes are up, we're gonna come back, we're gonna check, feel it, see if it's good, and then we'll be pulling everything out of the oven at that point. Okay, I've paused my audiobook. I took out the salad. I'm about to take out the pork chops. We're just going to tent this. And we do that by just taking some aluminum foil. You're not going to seal it, we're just going to put it over the top. just to keep all the heat from escaping. And we're gonna work on our little salad. This is my little fan, remote for the fan, because it is hot as hell in here. A little bit of salt. Some pepper. This is Penzeys Greek seasoning. It has salt, Turkish oregano, garlic, lemon peel, black pepper, and marjoram. I'm just starting off with a little bit. We've got some red wine vinegar. And some extra virgin Italian olive oil. I'm gonna add a little bit more seasoning. And what I'm also gonna do, totally unnecessary, but it's my favorite, the Penzeys Italian seasoning. It's really, really good for dressings or fresh veggies. It's mostly cucumber, but that's how I like it, and I'm gonna give it a try. That's perfect. I've lost my glasses. Okay. Alright, chimichurri sauce is up to room temperature. We have our salad. We have our potatoes. Hold on. Look at these. I did put them back in the bowl. They're so good. We're just gonna give those pork chops a few minutes to just rest. And that is it. What I'm gonna do, turn this fan down because just relax. I'm going to start loading the dishwasher. Anything that can go in the dishwasher goes in the dishwasher. I'll start cleaning the things that can't, such as this wood cutting board. I'm gonna put on my audiobook, and as soon as, oh, I can't wash this. I need to cut this. I'm gonna load the dishwasher, wash everything else, and put this cutting board. And once the pork chops are ready, we're gonna slice, plate, and then I'll show you what the finished product looks like. Okay, and we're done. We have a complete dinner. Lemon garlic roasted potatoes. I took some of the drippings from the pork chop and put it on top. We have our Mediterranean feta salad and our pork chop with chimichurri. I'm gonna go enjoy this, and I don't want to make this video any longer than it needs to be, so the recipe will be in the description, so you can just copy and paste it. So whether you keep a digital recipe book, you can just copy and paste it in there, or you can just copy what I wrote and then write it down in your recipe book. But that is all for today. I'm gonna go eat and watch Good American Family because it's still daylight outside, and that creeps me out for some reason. And I will see you next time.